Well, we're glad you join us every day to find out what's brewing on the National Real Estate Cafe with Don and Gino Fronti.
Nice intro.
Something different, huh?
Good job.
After 400 and some of these, you know, you got to come up with something different.
Yeah, well, today, not a lot's actually different. We're going to talk about interest rates. Maybe we haven't talked about that.
Well, who's talking about interest rates? You hear anything on the television or radio talking about the lowest rates ever?
The radio is the funniest, right? So I'm sitting in the car and it's like listening to stand-up comedy. It's like 2.75% fixed forever. Well, forever might only be 15-year fixed.
Right.
Or I even get nice postcards. I'm like, I even get excited. I'm like, oh my God, 2.25%. And I'm like, oh yeah, 5-year ARM and 3 points. I get it.
Yeah. So be careful what you hear. So where are rates? Are they good? Yes. So let's show you this first graph because we follow rates like no one. We follow a bunch of pros that follow the candlestick patterns, just like stock markets, that basically follow where the mortgage-backed securities. A lot of you are told that it's the 10-year treasury that you watch.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, it does follow some, but realistically what controls interest rates daily, hourly, by the minute sometimes, is mortgage-backed securities. And this bond chart is what we're going to explain to you.
Yeah, and I won't go too much into this because you know I'm kind of a bond nerd, because ultimately the bonds are it's actually another investment vehicle. And the reason people would purchase these bonds, Don, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, is because it's paying people a 3% return. So this is a bond that's paying somebody a 3% return versus the 10-year treasury, which you see in the upper right-hand corner, paying a 1.69% return. So which one do you want?
Yeah, well, and the reason that it's risk and reward, I guess they will feel that mortgage bonds might be a little more risky because they're tied to housing versus the government.
Right. I mean, the absolute last final frontier would be the United States government defaulting on the treasuries. I mean, the whole country would be completely defaulted. So the good news is we don't think that's going to happen. And because it's so safe as a worldwide investment, that's what's driven yields down, because Europe is so insecure. Russia is so insecure. Brazil's a total disaster. So as the rest of the world becomes insecure, those rich people and those rich institutions from other countries buy U.S. treasuries because they feel safe.
How about that? So what we're explaining on this chart, if you look all the way to the left, the first arrow, that is when you started first hearing about some of the lowest interest rates in years, and we're going to show you that. So as you can see, it got really good, and then it went away. But the radio and the media did not.
No, and you know what? It's the truth of the matter is the rates are still fantastic.
They're great.
So even though they're off the peak, it's still actually great rates. In fact,
great trading range.
One of the funniest things is on that first arrow that you just said, even though that was the best day for bonds, that was not the best day for rates because rates have a trailing effect. So the best day for rates was probably your third arrow there, Don.
There you go. So as what we're trying to show you is rates have been very consistent lately, which is a great thing. It helps all of us give you very solid quotes, so there's not a huge amount of surprises. So this next chart, we're going to show you where rates have been compared to the last few years.
Let's see it. Woo!
Okay, remember, up is good, meaning people and institutions are buying bonds, mortgage-backed securities. And if they're buying, then they don't have to give as high of a return or need as high of an interest rate to attract more buyers.
Right.
So therefore, red is actually bad, green is good, meaning it looks like it's going up, meaning you think interest rates are going up. Actually, it's the opposite.
Inverse relationship.
Inverse relationship,
That's the
exactly.
word. So check this out. Well, the other thing to take into consideration here is that when you hear about the Fed raising rates, oh my God, the radio's horrible about this. When the Fed raises rates, usually interest rates for mortgages actually get better. They actually improve. That's because short-term rates go up, long-term rates go down. That's the inverse yield curve. That's for you, Taylor. And so when you hear them trying to get you to apply right now because the Fed might raise rates, it's the speculation that they might raise rates actually does raise rates, but when they do, rates usually come down.
And remember, when the Fed raises rates, it's not your mortgage loans. It's basically your equity loans, your car loans, your credit cards. That's what they're actually moving the pendulum. Where your mortgage loans, it's controlled by those bond charts we just showed you. So we wanted you to understand a little bit more why rates move and how they move and why you need to talk to true professionals to understand what direction they're going, when is a good time to lock, when not.
Not to mention that rate is not everything. There's so many times that we put together much better plans that are not rate sensitive. I have a client right now that took a 4.5% loan over a 3.625% loan. If that sounds curious to you, reach out to Don and Gino, donandgino@gmail.com. Check us out at NRE Cafe, and most importantly, get these on your phone every single day by texting NREC to the number 58885.
Good stuff.